Doing incredibly well. It's great to see you. I've been looking forward to this for a while since we spoke. How's the day been?
Day's been good. Day's been good. I'm actually just back in, and so it feels a little bit like full loop because I'm back in St. Andrews where Prescient sort of started out. So I have my graduation tomorrow. So yeah, but day's been good. It was a long travel day yesterday, but yeah, like you said, always been also been looking forward to this one. So yeah,
Oh, dude,
good
I'm
to.
looking forward to getting into this. I was actually with Lewis yesterday, and we were chatting about what should I ask you, and he was like, "You got to ask him about OnStage." How was the demo day?
Yeah, I mean, demo day was great. I think OnStage is an incredible initiative because, I mean, if you look at a company like ours, right? We're 3 months old. We were a month old at the time when we pitched, and I think prior to an initiative like OnStage, it it didn't really feel like that field in terms of getting in front of VCs was fully democratized. Like a company that was like a month old, it was almost unthinkable for us to be able to just go and like pitch in front of 350 VCs, short of if like you had gone on Dragon's Den or something like that. So,
What are
yeah,
you
I think
doing when you're on stage? I love the fact that I say on stage to describe on stage. But are you when you go to a demo day like that and you showcase the product and you talk about it, are you thinking about fundraising? Are you thinking about getting market feedback? Are you thinking about signaling to the market we're building something special here?
Yeah, well, I mean, you should. So Sarah did, our chief scientific officer, she did the actual pitch. We were all there for the day, right, where we were having all the conversations and speaking to VCs. I think it was probably a little bit of a combination of the three. I think we always felt that we were super early, like we had been doing it full time for a bit over a month. So perhaps fundraising wasn't necessarily top of mind for us. But what was really important was just seeing how the crowd reacted, how VCs in general thought about the product that we were building, and then just getting the message out there. I think what's more important, especially when you're as early stage as us, and even more so at the time, is more about getting commercial traction, having people be aware of what you're building. And obviously for that, it was incredible because it was this huge platform for us to showcase, that we're building something pretty new and exciting within technology and how you approach AI. And so being able to share, snippets and clips from on stage where we can say, we're like a top 1% startup in Europe, check out what we're building. In that regard, it was really great. And then, of course, just being around all of these other remarkable founders. I mean, we were one of 20, right? And I think everyone there is building something really special. And yeah, I feel super privileged that we're able to build up that solid of a network like so early on.
It's pretty insane, and like the team over there has done a great job. I'm yet to get them on, but I'm sure in time we will. What I wanted to ask is, did it hurt not coming first? Like I know it was super early stage, and I know that wasn't the goal. But for you, were you sitting there with the team and thinking like, oh, we've got a chance now? Like we could win this thing like outright.
Yeah. I think it's like a decent reality check. Probably not to. I think because we had so much success so fast in getting all this traction, getting all this interest from VCs that for like a brief second, I think if you don't uh, take a moment to just sort of fathom and like recognize all that you have achieved thus far and have some like realistic expectations as well for where you are. I think maybe things can get a little bit out of hand and you start to get in your head. So I think in that respect it was good for grounding us a little bit and saying, okay, when you build a startup, everything is not just going to be winning every single day. Like there'll be a lot of setbacks. And I think if we had won this thing or like fundraised the most or whatever, off of having built full time for a month, I'm not would have been good for the resilience and the tenacity long term. So in that respect, it was quite good. Because like I honestly going into we had a dinner all of the sort of contestants or all of the final 20. We had a dinner the night before at this great restaurant somewhere in Fitzrovia, and all sort of
Was
set
it
up by.
themed? Was it a special restaurant, or was it just like a bunch of crack founders and the OnStage team just kind of like?
Yeah, and then a bunch of people trying to sell stuff, bankers and whatever. But but yeah, I mean that was more or less it. And I went into it not really knowing what to expect, but in my head, everyone else there was like a month into their journey as well. So I was just sort of going about it in that sort of fashion. And then speaking to people, I was speaking to companies that were like 2, 3 years old. And I was like, oh my God, like how are we here? Like it was so surreal because everyone around me I just felt like everyone, not to get imposter syndrome or anything, but it's like you feel like everyone around you is like so talented, like just these incredible people. Um, so in that regard, yeah, I felt super privileged to in general to be a part of it.
Dude, I've got to ask, what is Prescient Labs building? I know we've we started the journey at St. Andrews and built the team out of
Yeah.
there and with your co-founders, but I think what I'd love to understand is a couple of things here. When people say labs, I get scared for two reasons. One, are you building AGI? And then the second one is very much like, what does the product end up looking like? Or is it a suite of different ones? I'd love to hear thoughts.
Yeah. Well, it's called Prescient Labs because Prescient the AI was taken, so you don't need to be too scared just yet. But yeah, what we're building is I think for just like a little bit of context, we actually had at St. Andrews we had a different startup, which was like talk with your data chatbot type of company, and it was going really well. We had a few clients sort of in and around St. Andrews, Dundee, Scotland, and it was essentially a bit like a ChatGPT wrapper with some machine learning also slightly incorporated into it. And like I said, it was going well. Companies, we had a few sort of demo clients that were these normal small to medium sized businesses. And sort of in building that tool out, the Black Label Analytics, as it was called, we were reading so much about AI, everything, the capabilities, what it could do, the promise, all of that. And in that sort of journey, we became like entirely engulfed in that sort of bubble, if you will. And so on the one hand, we had people and ourselves as well sort of believing, like AGI, AI Singularity 2027, like what all the people in sort of the valley is saying.
I guess
And
when you
then,
started as well, that paper came out, and sort of that thinking had just started around like 2027.
yeah, exactly. And we, we came with that sort of mindset. And then when we spoke to our clients, our actual customers that ran these normal sort of businesses, ask us questions like, what's Copilot and how do you use ChatGPT and these sort of things. And we're like, wait, hold up, like what's going on? There seems to be such a disconnect here. And it was there that we realized that there was like a bit of a gap between the capabilities and the usability of AI. And so we we did some more research on it, and we saw, there's the MIT study that shows that like 95% of AI pilots fail to generate immediate value, this sort of thing. And asked friends and family that all work, how much they use AI and what sort of value they were retaining from it. And so we decided, and it was fairly unanimous. It was like, yeah, we see the promises there, like we see everything that it can do, but we don't know how to fully utilize it. We don't really feel like the resources are properly given. So we decided to take on the pretty arduous task of building something that could ultimately address that gap and that issue. And in the beginning, I mean, we had no fucking idea like what the actual solution looked like. We just knew there was a problem. We didn't actually know. And that was when, through a lot of trial and error and sort of painful testing, we came to this relatively nascent field within data science called process mining, which is what we do now, to go back to your original question. And process mining is essentially that we have built a model that ingests data from ERP systems and CRM systems. So, like your Microsoft Dynamics, Odoo, Salesforce, if it's CRM, and running that through our model, we can then build sort of a map of what a workflow looks like in actual fact. And from that map, you can then discern where the biggest bottlenecks are, where the biggest manual inefficiencies are, and we can then actually show people where they can implement AI for tangible results and for return on investment on their AI integrations and implementations. And that is where we are building something within AI, but it's more to really showcase the full value of it, more so than building an AI product per se ourselves.
How complex are ERP systems today?
I mean, relatively so, and they're quite outdated as well. So I mean, some of them depends. It depends, on a number of factors, but like how big the company is, how many, overseas offices, operations, et cetera, supply chain, all of that. But it can become very, very messy and very, very complex and very, very difficult to understand. And say you have, hundreds, if not thousands of employees that are doing all these workflows, it becomes relatively convoluted and you can't always really see where time is wasted, where money is wasted, where products, services, whatever, are sitting idle. And that's where being able to have it literally in front of you, like have a map that shows you, like, okay, between these two steps, on average, you have a 4-day delay. Now imagine if it was 20 minutes. Like that is where you can actually start to see, okay, wow, this is where we should implement robotics, AI, etc., because that is where the tangible gains are. Rather than having AI presented to you and then saying, yeah, this is incredible, this looks great, but I don't know where exactly in our organization it would create the most value for us.
How are you
So
finding
that's
talking to enterprises? Are you in that mode yet? Are you talking to customers, or is it very much like we're building out the process mining workflow first and then going to talk to customers?
No, so we are talking to quite a few. We want to have as many conversations as possible, even if the product isn't finished. So we have a functional MVP. We can ingest a few CSV files, like a few workflows, and we can show you where the delays are. Um,
What's the
and
bottleneck here? Is it the memory, because the sheer amount of data of those CSV files and sort of scraping through all of that and building a model around it that allows you to understand, where the ERP system is failing, where people are failing, where the human beings are not doing the work properly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's pretty accurate. I mean sometimes it will be like a bottleneck sort of within the ERP system, and there are automation tools that um, companies just aren't aware of, that we can then show them, how to automate specifically within the ERP or the CRM, like part of a workflow. And other times it is going that one step further, showing like a Zapier integration or something that could sort of automate either with human in the loop or entirely human out of the loop, like the entire workflow. Um, and it's I mean it's pretty special. Like we had a call with uh a UK sort of IT consulting firm that we were in chats with, to maybe for them to roll it out with their clients. So they will use our software, their clients will see where they should implement AI, and then the consultancy will do the AI implementation for them. And to have like the CEO of like a really big company call your software literally magic. Like he had to get his CTO on. It was like, I just need to understand that like this is what I'm seeing. And like that these guys are not bullshitting or anything like that, right? And I mean that's incredible. And you can't I think it's like that's what makes entrepreneurship worth it. That's why like I think everyone who's on here, that's why we all do it. Because it's all the gratitude and actual feeling that you're like making a difference and a change is just yeah, it's priceless.
And you're doing it to the most complex organizations on the planet. And so like it's a really hard problem that you're solving here.
Yeah. It is. I think that's also why there aren't like that many more people doing it. I mean, there are a few companies out there, but they that do process mining. They focus slightly more on enterprise, like very large clients, whereas we're more for the time being. I mean, we'll take them on eventually, but for the time being, sort of more medium enterprise, typically PE owned companies that we are focusing on. But yeah, I mean it's a really difficult issue to tackle, but that's also what makes it so motivating and so much fun.
Midterm
To
is the
do it.
goal to build agents that will be able to process mine autonomously.
Yeah. I think that's part of what we are. Yeah, we're aiming to have that sort of capability in 2026. If not, do process mining, then a model does the process mining, sends it to an AI agent that then knows what AI to implement. So there's no, because as it is right now, if we make a recommendation, our model makes a recommendation of what AI to implement, then either we have to help them do it or the company has to do it themselves. Ideally, and I think we can get there within sort of half a year, we build agents that when they get the recommendation, they just do everything for you. It's one click of button, and then everything's just automated. That's a goal of 2026 for sure, because I think that could shorten the time and any sort of pain points so dramatically.
Why do you have a chief science officer?
Because because it's a tricky field, and Sarah has 2 math degrees. And so she was like, either I am gonna be an academic for the rest of my life, or I'm gonna find something that's sufficiently mentally stimulating, so that I can do that. Because she was like, ain't no way in hell I'm ever just gonna work at like, I mean, no disrespect to people who work at Goldman Sachs, anything like that. Like I have friends that do, I love them all, but like that won't be it. Like
We
she
we
has,
love the teams at Goldman and JP, right? Like they fund the
yeah.
world. Like when you IPO, who are we calling up?
Yeah, absolutely. No. That's no beef with this there, but yeah, she was essentially like, I want to do very difficult math. That's what I want to do, and thankfully we have found a field here that somewhat incorporates that. And I think going forward, right now everyone's kind of wearing like all hats at the company, but I think going forward as we grow, Josh will take on, who's our chief technology officer, will take on board more of this sort of practical, day-to-day technical aspects of running the company. And Sarah will be more on the sort of like writing papers, pioneering the latest like push that we can do within machine learning and computational algorithms. So I think that's how we're gonna probably split up the labor going forward.
That's like it sounds incredible, especially because ERP systems are such an unsexy business, right? Like
Yeah.
not everyone wants to get into the data of the complex organizations that run our world. Why is this the mission to go on?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, partly it was that story I told at the very beginning.
But
But
there's
partly
got to
it's,
be more to it than that, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is you could go anywhere, especially with your science officer and the way that you've got one there. Like this, tell me more.
Yeah, I think, look, all three of us, the three co-founders, we are very intentional when it comes to technology use. And that, I think that means that we are, for instance, take something like social media. I think we all want to limit the amount of like doom scrolling that we do, and there should be an intentional and autonomous use behind technology. And when it comes to AI, I I want to ensure that the AI is used, I think we all do, for its full promise and its full potential, rather than okay, yeah, I'm not sure. Let me ask ChatGPT because it can do so much more than just that. And like when I was writing my dissertation now, I mean, it's a good example when here at St. Andrews, I used obviously chatbots all the time. It's like an assistant and an aide, and it was great. But I was always sort of sat there thinking like, I don't know for a fact that this is better than something I could have written myself, or I don't know that this is the best tool for me to be using right now. And that was like bothering me because ultimately, the resources that we have available, you want to ensure that you are using the best tool at hand. And that is, I think, transferable over to companies and organizations where they have these really convoluted, complex issues, and there will be like 30 vendors selling an AI system to them, all claiming that they are the best, right? Which is natural because we run a business, but maybe for your specific issue, it is one specific AI that you should be using, and we ultimately want to be that neutral truth teller that can
Yep.
tell people for a fact this is the one you should be using because we've seen it run 200 times before at a company akin to yours that solved sort of similar issues and had same number of employees, etc. And we can then go for a fact and say, look, if you implement this, we know you will cut costs by 22%. Like because we have run the tests, like the models, everything is there before you had to do it. So you don't have to take the seller's word for it. You have like ours, and we have ingested your company data, so we know that this is what the tool that works best for you. And I think it's like a really important task to take on. And then also just actually helping medium-sized enterprises do it, because if you're like a Mercedes-Benz or some huge company and you can afford to pay like millions and millions to Accenture or Deloitte or whatever, they can come in, they can do a very good like some AI pilot report. But if you have maybe 500 employees and you need to cut costs, and you're under scrutiny from your PE owners and like if that's sort of the context in the background, you don't necessarily have the time and resources to go out and do that. But then you can have our software sit there and you have a dashboard that literally enables you to see where are the bottlenecks, where could we ultimately optimize and improve.
Speaking of doom scrolling, did you catch the Ilya and Dwarkosh episode on X?
No, no, I don't think I've no, I don't think I
Oh,
caught that.
you have. It's going to be a fun one. Like,
But
sit down,
I
watch
am a
that.
big fan of Dwarkesh, but yeah.
Honestly, it's a great episode, and obviously Ilya hasn't done a show or anything, and no one really knows what he's building. And this idea of what SSI is building in terms of like straight shotting AGI, I found incredible. I think you're gonna love it.
Okay. I mean, it's coming on after this.
Love that. Before
Yeah,
we let you go and build
yeah,
ERP systems and continue building them, we've got to have you back and the rest of the team on, right?
yeah.
One of the questions I love to ask guests on the show, and you're a founder, and specifically founders, who's on your Mount Rushmore of founders? 4 people, greatest of all time.
Oh my. Greatest of all time. I think. I, I mean, I would probably. Okay, I'd probably have to go a little bit more old school on it.
It's
I
from
think.
greatest of all time, so like any era.
Yeah. I think. I think Nikola Tesla is difficult not to have on there. Uh, Inventor. I
Doesn't get
have.
mentioned much, surprising.
No. I know, but yeah, it's he certainly should be. Um, then I have uh, Phil Knight. I think has to be on there. I think I have immense respect for founders, marketers, etc. Who can go create something that already exists and exists very well, but somehow still just be the dominant player, capture the whole market. And obviously, you know, there was like training gear before Nike. So yeah, he certainly is on there. I think I mean, obviously he's gone down a bit of a rabbit hole, I think, as of late, but I think it's very difficult not for everything that he has achieved, very difficult not to have Musk on the top four. I mean, he arguably, objectively, probably the greatest ever. And the fourth one, oh my.
It's actually surprisingly tough.
I think in 10, 20 years, yeah, I think probably have to give it to Sam Altman, to be honest, because
Interesting.
it's so no, because AI will be sort of so revolutionary, and I think in 10, 20 years, it will be one of those things that had the most immense impact. And so yeah, I'll give it some additional thought for next time I'm on.
Do you know who I thought would be on the list? I genuinely thought Benioff would have been on the list. Not the
Yeah.
father of the ERP system, but like Salesforce pretty much dominates every
Yeah,
enterprise on the planet.
yeah.
I was like, you got to give credit to the man that sort of allowed you to build Prescient Labs.
Yeah. I mean, look, Salesforce is great, but it frustrates a lot of people as well. I spend a lot of time on Salesforce not being very happy, but no, I mean, yeah, arguably, but I just don't think quite the same impact. But yeah, I for next time I'm on, I'll have a deep dive. I'll have a bit more of a think. But for now, I would say those four.
Those four are epic. My friend, this has been amazing. I can't wait to get the rest of the team on. I'll speak to you soon.
Absolutely. Take care, bro.
See you later.
Bye.